All right, welcome back, guys. Today we are going over Seneca's letter 46. And this letter is on a new book by Lucilius. So let's jump right into this here. He says here in verse 1, I received a book of yours which you promised me. I opened it hastily with the idea of glancing over it at leisure, for I meant only to taste the volume, but by its own charm the book coaxed me into traversing it at more length. You may understand from this fact how eloquent it was, for it seemed to be written in the smooth style, and yet did not resemble your handiwork or mine, but at first sight might have been ascribed to Titus Livius or Epicurus. Moreover, I was so impressed and carried along by its charm that I finished it without any postponement. The light called me, hunger waned, and clouds were lowering, but I absorbed the book from beginning to end. So, obviously, he's impressed with this book that Lucilius has written and sent him. And one thing to notice about Seneca, right? Because Seneca talked about not flattering. And his method of complimenting is not flattering in the sense that he did not say, oh, it's a really, really good book. It's really a great book. Instead, he talked about what he did, right? So he said that essentially, he didn't mean to read the whole book. He just wanted to glance over it, but he was drawn into it, okay, which obviously is a compliment. And he said that he did say that it was written in a smooth style, but he's saying that he would have ascribed it to Titus Livius or Epicurus. And then he talked about how he spent all night reading it, where he didn't care about being hungry or how late it was, and he absorbed it from beginning to end, right? So that's a good way to pay a compliment to someone, which isn't flattery, is to actually describe what it is that they have done or what you like or why you're impressed with them. In verse 2, I was not merely pleased, I rejoiced. So full of wit and spirit it was. I should have added force had the book contained moments of repose, or had it risen to the energy only at intervals. But I found that there was no burst of force, but an even flow, a style that was vigorous and chaste. Nevertheless, I noticed from time to time your sweetness, and here and there that mildness of yours. Your style is lofty and noble. I want you to keep this manner and this direction. Your subject also contributed something. For this reason, you should choose productive topics which will lay a hold of the mind and arouse it. So again, very good and specific compliments that he gives here, and also encouragement. You know what I mean? In this case, in many cases, Seneca is giving Lucilius instruction, and some of the instruction is sometimes harsh. But in this, what he's doing, he wants to encourage him to keep on doing this and keep on writing. So he's held back a lot of the reproof and instead has given him the encouragement, right, in a good way. In verse 3, he says, I shall discuss the book more fully after a second perusal. Meantime, my judgment is somewhat unsettled, just as if I had heard it read out loud and had not read it myself. You must allow me to examine it also. You need not be afraid. You shall hear the truth. Lucky fellow, to offer a man no opportunity to tell you lies at such long range, unless perhaps even now, when excuses are lying are taken away, custom serves as an excuse for our telling each other lies. Farewell. So let's decipher that last bit because it's a little bit confusing. So we'll take it verse by verse or line by line. He says, I shall discuss the book more fully after a second perusal. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. He's going to read it a second time. Meantime, my judgment is somewhat unsettled. Okay, so there's something that he's not sure about. Just as if I had heard it read aloud and had not read it myself. So he's saying that he's still not completely sure. Like, he doesn't have a full judgment of it because it's as if he had heard it read out loud and hadn't read it himself. Even though he's read it himself, he needs to read it again, okay? You must allow me to examine it also, okay? You need not be afraid, okay? So you don't have to be afraid. You shall hear the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth about it. Lucky fellow, all right, he's saying, to offer a man no opportunity to tell you lies at such a long range. So this is a little confusing. So he's saying, to offer a man no opportunity to tell you lies at such a long range. So I think what he's really communicating here is he's saying, like, you're lucky because I'm not going to tell you any lies. I'm going to give it to you straight, okay? And then he says, unless perhaps, even now, Right? When excuses for lying are taken away, custom serves as an excuse for our telling each other lies. So this part, I'm a bit unsure about exactly what he's saying. It's a little bit convoluted, right? So unless perhaps, so there's no opportunity to tell lies at such long range, unless perhaps even now, okay, when excuses for lying are taken away. So when we take away the excuses that you would have for lying, all right, custom still serves as an excuse for telling each other lies. So customarily, we would still tell each other lies. So I'm not sure why he added that bit in there. I think maybe just as a funny jest, just to add some levity to it. But I'm not entirely sure in that case. But yeah, so that is it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.